All right, welcome guests. Before we start our formal IH awards and presidential address and IH keynote, I am going to turn the mic over to your incoming IH secretary, Kelly Armstrong, to announce the IH abstract winners.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. First, I would like to thank everyone who submitted an abstract to the IH Abstract Review Committee to review, and I would also like to thank our abstract committee for taking the time to review them, as well as our judges today and our speakers. Our second place, I have them in the wrong order. Second place is Catherine Schoschler. If you can please come up. Catherine presented on Does the Distress Community Index correlate with adverse outcomes after surgery? Are you going to take a picture of us this way? Who are we looking at? Congratulations. And our first place winner for the abstract for integrated health this year is Lisa Miller-Matero. Lisa presented on cannabis use following bariatric surgery is associated with anxiety and maladaptive eating. Again, thank you all who participated, and I will turn it back over to Nate.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Wow, this is an awesome opportunity and a very packed house. So next year we'll have to make a note for a bigger room. And I think that goes to our distinguished guest here today, our keynote speaker, Dr. Robert Kushner. So I'm happy to introduce him a little later on, but we're going to start with our Integrated Health 2023 awards. So the IH Committee of the Year is the Advanced Practice Provider Committee, with the chair, Michael Doherty, and co-chair, Connie Klein, and the staff liaison is Jennifer Nguyen. Would the members of this committee please stand to be recognized for your outstanding contributions to our society? Unfortunately, Michael could not be here, so Connie, if you can please come forward to accept the award on behalf of the hardworking members of this committee. They've done an outstanding job over the past 2 years implementing the Advanced Practice Assessment-Based Certificate and conducted the second version today, and we are excited about the future growth of this. They've also done some outstanding lecture series webinars that continue to evolve, so a lot of great work from this committee, and they are laying the groundwork for our other disciplines for working towards credentialing. So this is a great group, and thank you, Connie, for your leadership. I'm going to keep Connie here for 1 second as I introduce her, because she's also our Distinguished Advanced Practice Provider Award recipient for this year. So Connie Klein is a nurse practitioner who has spent the last 20 plus years in the field of metabolic bariatric surgery, and she has held diverse roles throughout her past 2 decades at the University of Texas MIST Clinic and the University of Texas Medical School, primarily functioning as a clinician, providing direct care for MBS patients, as well as serving as co-investigator and research nurse coordinator. And above all that, she assists in the OR as a first assist. She's been active and engaged with the ASMBS for many years. She has served with our professional networking group for the Advanced Practice Provider Group. She's also been an invited speaker multiple times and course director. She is the co-chair of the ASMBS weekend events for how many years, I can't even remember, but we appreciate all of those decades of service. She currently has stepped up into leadership when we had a void, and she is now filling the co-director role and moving into the director position, chair position for the Professional Education and Program Committee. At the same time, she will be moving in to the Advanced Practice Provider Chair. So she is an outstanding member and contributor to our society, and we are just thrilled to acknowledge you for the many achievements in our field, and we continue to look forward to you driving us to future goals in the future.
So before presenting this year's Distinguished Behavioral Health Provider Award winner, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize last year's winner, Dr. Janelle Coughlin. Dr. Coughlin couldn't be here last year to accept her award because she was caring for a family member. So I'd like to ask her to stand up and be recognized today. This year's Distinguished Behavioral Health Provider Award winner is Dr. Rachel Goldman, a clinical psychologist who's been studying and working in the fields of obesity and metabolic bariatric surgery since 2009. She's been an ASMBS member since 2011 and has been a member of her ASMBS state chapter for the past 10 years. During this time, she's contributed to our society through conference presentations and as an abstract reviewer. She recently concluded a productive term as a member at large on the IHEC, during which time she's used her natural gifts for communication and social media in her role as the highly active and invested liaison to the IH Communications Committee. She's also one of the founding members of the Behavioral Health Credentialing Working Group, which is now the Behavioral Health Committee, and contributed to the development of our fairly new Fundamentals in Behavioral Health course. So the Distinguished CBN Award recognizes a certified bariatric nurse who's made an extraordinary effort to promote the values of the CBN: compassion, advocacy, research, and education. Ms. Neumann-Potash has been a nurse for almost 40 years and has worked in the field of bariatrics since 2007. And I'm going to borrow some of the words of the colleague who nominated her for this award. Linda is the epitome of a compassionate nurse. She exemplifies all of the values of a CBN. Linda has worked in bariatric nursing for many years, and she has likely trained virtually all of Nebraska medicine about bariatric surgical care in some capacity or another. She has been involved in research endeavors through her academic teaching institution, Nebraska Medical Center. She has been a stalwart for the MBSA QIP program there, having served as the MBS coordinator, the MBS CR, and the key leader for a number of MBSA QIP research endeavors, including lots of alphabet soup here: the DROP, B-STOP, and energy programs. Within ASMBS, Linda is a colleague that one can always count on, frequently volunteering for a committee involvement, speaking engagements, and project participation. She has been a long-standing member of the CBN committee and most recently served as one of the core leaders on the CBN practice analysis group. Please join us in congratulating Ms. Neumann-Potash on this well-deserved award. And Bill Gorash, the chair of the CBN committee, will be handing this award to Ms. Neumann-Potash.
All right, now is the surprise moment where I get to award members contributing to our society. So the ASMBS Distinguished Service Award is bestowed upon members who have made a notable and outstanding contributions to the field of metabolic bariatric surgery, not only through their work, but through their demonstrated commitment to ASMBS and its mission. This is the proudest moment of my presidency each year, since I got to do 2 years, to bestow these medals. So our first recipient is Melissa Majumdar. Melissa, if you can come up. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about Melissa if you don't know her. She earned her master's degree from Northeastern University and is the bariatric coordinator at Emory University Hospital. She's a national spokesperson for A&D, as well as the incoming chair-elect for the DPG Weight Management Group. And she's a co-author of the A&D Dietetics Pocket Guide to Bariatric Surgery. And she has been involved with ASMBS since 2011, and she was last year's recipient of the TRIO Lead Award for Excellence in Nutrition. Her service goes beyond her work with the committees. Her leadership, her caring for our members has been second to none, and I appreciate you. She also has taught me to learning about boundaries, which I have yet to learn how to set for myself, but that's a goal, and I hope to lean on you continually for your mentorship there, Melissa. So Melissa, I am excited to bestow upon you the ASMBS Service of Distinction Medal. The second medal that I'm going to bestow today goes to a special person from ASMBS who has worked with me from a young member just coming on to being a committee member and then figuring out what the heck do I do as a co-chair or chair. She has mentored me. She's a staple of this organization, and she's been so since 2015. Would Leslie Vinson please come to the stage? I'm going to say a few words, but I need a hug. So those of you, everyone should know Leslie, but she works so hard and diligently behind the scenes, you may not recognize her face. So I wanted to draw the spotlight on you for all the hard work you've done for our organization, and you actually hold a special place in my heart for one of the committees. I don't have favorites, but I will say the military committee is one up there, right? So I appreciate all the hard work. Your impact goes beyond the committees you serve, though, because when you're in the office or someone needs something, you're the first to jump up and help, even if it's not your role or responsibility. We are eternally grateful for your contributions, and we look forward to celebrating future growth with you. I think I'm ready.
All right, so we have Nate's family in the front row, and I know that Nate's sons have been taking bets as to how many times he'll cry over this weekend. Which one of you chose infinity? All right, get ready. So many of us, including right about now me, wish that Nate could stay president of Integrated Health forever. But he's already served an extra term, having selflessly volunteered to stay on when the person who was slated to serve as our next IH president was unable to do so because of a career change. Now, there are so many reasons that Nate has been such a beloved and successful IH president. Nate's incredibly smart and knowledgeable, but always humbly excited to learn. He has an intense sense of duty paired with a high level of conscientiousness and a work ethic that's kind of exhausting to witness. And he's a genuinely kind person, someone who cares deeply about people and who values his relationships so highly. I think the one attribute, though, that encompasses so many of the reasons that we all love Nate and that the society has benefited so much from his presidency, I didn't think I would cry, but I might do that, is dedication. Nate manifests this attribute in a million different ways. Nate's dedicated to his country having served as a captain in the Army, both in Iraq in combat and also at Walter Reed, where he took care of, let's just say, many of the leaders of the free world at the time. And Nate earned 11 medals during his time in the Army, which to me sounds like a lot, along with a number of ribbons, badges, and patches. Walter Reed is also where Nate began his career in bariatrics, starting all the way back in 2004. Nate also has a deep dedication to his faith, which as a Jewish atheist, which by the way is 100% possible, I really admire. We all know that Nate is incredibly dedicated to he's an incredibly dedicated husband and father. And his wife, Jessica, sent me a message to include in the presentation. And even though it's a little bit weird for me to be reading his wife's words, I'm going to do that. Nate, there are no amount of words that can describe how proud I am of you. From the day we met, I could tell your drive and desire for something bigger than yourself would push you farther than you could have ever imagined. You strive to be the best husband, father, friend, coworker, and leader you can be every single day. I know it is not easy, but you somehow balance it all with grace and humility, which is not the only time in this presentation those words will come up. You are an inspiration and an example to our boys on how to live and navigate life to the fullest. I am so grateful the boys and I get to walk next to you in this amazing journey of life. We love you. Nate is also a devoted son and brother. It's slightly less weird for me to read his parents' words. From his parents, Debbie and Harry, we couldn't be prouder of our son Nate and all his accomplishments. Always the leader, from an early age, he showed compassion, dedication, there it is, and commitment in all he undertook. And Nate is also devoted to his colleagues at Advanced Surgical Partners of Virginia and to providing his patients with the highest possible standard of care. And I know he's been a beloved member of his team there. I got some late-breaking words from some of his colleagues there. I'll read them now. It's a pleasure to work with Nate. He is so dedicated to both our patients and the program. Nate is a doer. He accepts responsibility, he is reliable, and he produces excellent results. In addition, he cares about our patients and his work family. His leadership of the IH section was transparent. Our office and hospital are totally separate entities, and when Nate sees a patient in the office with an acute issue who needs to be admitted, he goes over to the hospital to check on them as a social visit, even though he doesn't really have to. It's an example of how he goes above and beyond to take care of our patients. Working with Nate is a surgeon's dream come true. He sees a patient, gets all of their testing done, and delivers them to us all wrapped up in a pretty bow, ready for their operation. Maybe that isn't the best message about me as a surgeon, but I couldn't ask for anything better than that. It's hard to imagine our practice without him in it. And of course, what we're specifically celebrating here today is Nate's dedication to our family, the ASMBS. Throughout his many years in ASMBS leadership, and especially during the years of his presidency, Nate has embodied absolute devotion to our society. He has given tirelessly of himself out of a genuine desire to continually make ASMBS even better. He strongly believes in and supports our mission, and he really walks the walk. He expends an enormous amount of time and effort to provide IH with the best leadership he can give us. I happen to know that he's created a complex system involving color-coded Post-it notes on the wall in his home office to help him stay current and organized with ASMBS business. And he spends hours and hours and hours in meetings and on Zooms, but he's always offering to hop on an extra meeting or a phone call at a moment's notice if it's needed. And his self-sacrifice even goes as far as selecting and booking himself on ridiculously early morning flights when ASMBS is paying his tab, just so he can save the society money on his travel. And just so you know, Christy, I will not be carrying on that tradition. Nate's hard work and being a champion for IH has paid off in so many ways. Some brief examples, and Nate will be talking about these in his speech, Of the fruits of his hard work in service of our society and of IH in particular, Nate developed the state IH chapter leaders group, and then he worked with the chair of the state chapter's committee to have these leaders added to that committee. He also implemented a pilot program of reduced ASMBS dues for IH members, which greatly increased our membership numbers. He also brought more focus onto integrated health through his work with the ASMBS Foundation, which has now been rebranded as the TRIO Foundation. And he's also increased ASMBS IH involvement in IFSO, both in their leadership and in their scientific meetings. And he used all of his excellent leadership and networking skills to secure corporate funding to bring our new online support group training to fruition, and he'll tell you more about that in his speech. But I actually think that Nate's most substantial contributions to our society and to its members haven't necessarily been these specific initiatives that I just mentioned, but in Nate's special gift for empowering, encouraging, and supporting others to turn their fantastic ideas into realities, and allowing those people to take ownership and the credit for those contributions and those innovations. Nate is the kind of person who wants to lead because he wants to be of service, not in service to his own ego. And part of what makes Nate a natural as a leader is that he creates such strong personal relationships with everyone he interacts with. Nate genuinely cares about and keeps up with what's happening in everyone's personal lives. He always first sees the good in people and their strengths. And Nate gets the best out of people because he gives them his best. Nate is a leader who wants to empower people and help them grow, and he treats everyone with compassion and empathy. And in that way, he makes us better. We're better because we want to be better for him. For our most recent IHEC retreat, because it was going to be Nate's last as president, I asked all of the IHEC members and staffers to write a little message for Nate. And I'm going to share some of their words with you now because they speak more eloquently than I ever could about Nate's strengths as a leader and a colleague, as a friend. And I hope that you will humor me with spending a lot of time on this because these words are really beautiful and they really reflect why we all love Nate so much. You are an effective leader for so many reasons. Not only because of your previous experiences, but because of your kind heart, ability to listen, process it all, and then put steps into action to make things happen. When I mention your name, whoever I am speaking to has only positive and glowing things to say about you. You are an example to all of us in what it is to do more and to take your passions to the next level, not only fulfilling yourself, but elevating those around you with education, involvement, and a guiding hand. Your unwavering commitment, passion, and loyalty to the ASMBS cannot be measured in words. Your integrity, kindness, and leadership are exemplary. Your leadership as IH president has been a gift to us all. You have a natural aptitude for building teams, making people feel comfortable and welcome, and making us all want to work together for each other and for our patients, and you do it all with humility and grace. You brought ASMBS leadership to life. You are the shining example of a leader who truly cares for your team. You mentor, you encourage, you challenge, you support, and you always make me feel appreciated. The IH has thrived and grown tremendously under your leadership. Your dedication and love for the field shows in everything you do. And my personal favorite, I remember thinking, wow, this guy is making ASMBS a lot of fun. I wonder who he is. And as though all of this stuff wasn't enough, Nate is also extremely funny, a snappy dresser, and a great dancer. So to sum up, this is all very annoying. Nate has set the bar so high that there's no way that I'm going to meet it. Although in some way, it takes the pressure off. It's kind of freeing. If there's no way I'm going to meet the bar, then I can just carry on and do what I'm going to do and not worry about it. But in all seriousness, Nate, I know that I've said this to you before, but one of the best parts of joining IH leadership has been getting to work with you more closely. I've learned so much from you, and you've been such a wonderful role model. And while you are a terrifyingly hard act to follow, I'm so grateful that I've had the chance to observe the way that you've carried out your leadership responsibilities, your wonderful presidential manner, and the way you have embodied the very best spirit of ASMBS. And I know that I'm speaking for myself and for all of integrated health and for the entire society when I say thank you for all that you've done for us.
It was amazing. You're amazing. You're going to do this. My great friend and colleague, Dr. Lisa West Smith, told me it's impossible to cry if you clear your throat. So a lot of throat clearing. And also, Vegas probably hit big with the over-under for me crying. So I think that was like the whole way through. So is that one cry or multiple cries? Welcome, distinguished guests, past presidents, executive council members, and IHEC executive board members, my family and friends. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank all of our membership for being here today because you are why we all serve. In the military, you learn to embrace the suck. Well, today I'm going to embrace the moment. The extremely over-the-top kind words from Dr. Sog, I truly appreciate that. And to capture this, I'm going to take a selfie with this great audience here. I learned that from Dr. Katari, so we both have extremely long arms. So your IH Executive Council leadership team, if I could ask each of these members to stand so that the membership and our guests can acknowledge you for the tremendous service you give on a daily basis that goes on behind the scenes for our ASMBS. So the IHEC, please stand. Thank you so much for your friendship and your service. For our ASMBS integrated health leadership, our committees are what drive the future of our organization and what provide value to your membership. Can the committee chairs and co-chairs please stand to be recognized? Thank you for your leadership. We have one member rotating off, and she was also the recipient of our Distinguished Behavioral Health Award, but Dr. Rachel Goldman could not be here, as Stephanie alluded, with bringing in her new baby, Riley. So we thank her for her service, but know that her service will continue towards future growth, and we will get her re-engaged when she is ready. I will say thank Dr. Goldman for her friendship and her service, and also to use her own words, her good vibes. Those of you who know her will get that. I'd like to welcome our newly elected leaders. Heidi Bednarchek has been elected as IH President-elect, and she is a true servant leader and is an incredible asset to our society. She has the wealth of experience serving on many different committees throughout her experience with ASMBS and the understanding of the inner workings of our organization necessary to facilitate projects to meet our membership's needs. Our new Secretary-Treasurer is Kelly Armstrong, and she is a well-known and respected clinician and leader herself, whose passion and dedication empowers our team to thrive. Kelly continues to serve in her various roles and brings her passion to her work to motivate others to be engaged. And we look forward to both of you, and I look forward to supporting your leadership journeys in the future. Welcome to the IHEC Board of Directors. Returning member is Dr. Lillian Craigs-Dino, and our new member for her first term is Kara Horn. So our 2023 IH accomplishments. I'd like to thank our leadership, our staff colleagues, and our committee members for all that you do for our organization. The value added is going to continue our growth for IH as well as our entire society. ASMBS committees are one of the most important workforces of our organization in driving us towards future growth. One of the amazing things that you may have seen on some poster boards was the brainchild of our Karen Flanders, past president, and the hard work of her team, Heidi Bednarchek, Dr. Nina Peterson, and Dr. Sue Benson Davies. The purpose of this FAS-MBS IH designation program is to recognize integrated health individuals who've made a substantial contribution through service and leadership into ASMBS. The Fellows Designation Program is an elective designation that will recognize these individuals for these contributions. We hope that this will help increase value for our members and show the organizational strength as well as future growth as those who aspire for this credential. We anticipate this being approved in bylaws change in July of 2023 and the application window to start this fall. So look forward to that, and we look forward to celebrating our first class of inductees at our annual conference in 2024. So book those flights early morning if you want to save your facilities some money. The ASMBS and the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics DPG Weight Management Group have signed a network agreement. This was something that had been in the past, and we revised this, and with the help of Christy Kaufman and Jennifer Wynn, this negotiation with the other society has added value to not only our members, but a member of another society organization. And so this shows that a collaborative approach to reach across organizations and improve value added for all members. So there's a lot of different things that you can look at. In the essence of time, I will say, come find one of us, or Melissa Majumdar is the chair of that now, so you can find her and she can tell you all about it. The IH Obesity Summit. This is another work where this was inspired by Dr. John Morton's work previously with our surgeon colleagues in reaching across different disciplines with cardiology, endocrinology, and Karen Flanders has taken the drive to do this with IH-driven organizations. So this is going to be collaborating with other professional organizations to educate the care of obesity and talk about where our role fits and where their role fits in the treatment paradigm. So it fits with our model for this year's theme, enhancing the benefits with multimodality therapy. So that should be this fall. And under Dr. Teresa Lemaster's leadership, the revamping of our website. So this project started in November of 2022, and Dr. John Scott, if you're in here, thank you for your leadership on this. But it was a collaboration between surgeons and IH and ASMBS staff colleagues in order to discover where our weaknesses and strengths were with our current website, and then totally rebuild it to make it more functional for ourselves. And in this discovery, we found that 40% was driven by patients visiting our website. So we have developed a website interaction that is patient-driven as well. So it's going to enhance the value for your patients and our members. So we're excited about this and look for this implementation later this fall. Publications. That's what we do. We're an academic member society. And so the ASMBS IFSO Indications for Metabolic Bariatric Surgery was published in October of 2022 and under the leadership of Dr. Katari and the many authors on this. This has been a groundbreaking, monumental implementation and helping us change a 30-year narrative with the old NIH guidelines in early adoption by insurers and healthcare systems are already improving access to care. So thank you, Dr. Qatari, for your leadership and everyone who contributed to this amazing work. Our committee work. So our Advanced Practice Providers Committee that we already recognized for their work with the ABC course as well as the webinars. And they're also working on an Advanced Provider Symposium that continues in, I meant to look this up, but I believe it, Bill, is it the 14th year that the symposium is going on? How many years? 14, I heard? Okay. 14th year from Connie that our symposium has been going on. So a lot of great work from our Advanced Practice Provider Committee. Our Behavioral Health Committee, under Dr. Stephanie Sogg's leadership, has gone from a task force this year to an official committee. Their two main goals are to collaborate with other committees on behavioral health-related education offerings, and I consider a very important aspect is driving a system for credentialing for bariatric behavioral health providers to help standardize bariatric behavioral health care and allow patients and other providers and practices to identify bariatric behavioral health providers who have the appropriate training and experience. So we have a fundamentals course and a master's course in working towards certification and credentialing. So great work by that committee. The Certified Bariatric Nurse Committee. This would be an hour-long presentation in and of itself for the enormous lift that this committee and all the members and subcommittees work on this. But this past year, they have completed a final report on a practice analysis and are working to update the exam specifications. They're revising the exam questions and recategorizing the item writing bank, as well as working on updating the review course that should be later this fall. And they have done a master's in metabolic bariatric health nursing curriculum that's offered this year at our conference. And then they look forward to publishing the results of this survey in SWORD. And our Clinical Issues Committee, they have published the ASMBS consensus statement in July of 2022 on laparoscopic gastric banding management and are currently in the writing phase of stage 2 with the cannabis paper, as well as working in the scoping review of the adolescent behavioral health. And the contraceptive counseling draft has been written and is in the editing phase. And they also continue to collaborate on several projects with endoscopic sleeve gastroplasty, the Medicare paper, and exercise papers. Excuse me for 1 second. Our IH Communications Committee continues to work with our membership committee with offering multiple online networking sessions. So the great networking session that we'll have at our conference in person, we'll continue those dialogues online with Zoom chats. They're also developing a member spotlight program so we can recognize all the great work that members are doing at a local and regional level. We want to develop, or they are developed a webinar proposal form and guidelines to better guide our programs with producing quality webinars, as well as continuing to work with engagement in our Doc Matters community. Their future goals are to do a calendar that everybody can go on and look at all the great webinars and other events that are going on in person and virtually. Our membership committee, they had a tremendous lift as well, and want to really shout out all the hard work that has gone on, and really thank thank Laura Bauer for Boyer for stepping up to come into a role and take over the chair there. We had the increased impact last year with going from 297 members to 1,613 members with the initiative we rolled out with the member discount. And we were able to, as of last week, retain 1,435 of those. And so now the work is cut out for us to figure out with surveying the value added and how we can retain more members and improve membership. So they are already working on that. And they are also have completed the compensation and practice pattern survey. So anybody wants to scan that QR code, you can go on there and fill out that compensation so we can better understand and identify salary and benefit packages for our IH professional disciplines. And you can use that to help negotiate your contracts with all these surgeons and hospitals in the room here today. Show your value and what we add. The Multidisciplinary Care Committee has been working diligently over the past 2 years to launch our mentorship program, and that is officially launched. So you can scan that great QR code there and start the process to either be a mentee or a mentor and help the growth of future leaders within our organization. We want to be inclusive, and we want to get more members involved. Our Program and Professional Education Committee, they've done a ton of work behind the scenes to make this seem as seamless as possible. And there are always adversities with unknowns during conferences, but their pre-planning has done an amazing job. And some of the things that I'd like to highlight is they developed and implemented course director and speaker guideline sheets, as well as image guides and language guides so that we're using the right language and images to represent patient and surgery in the right light. They've also incorporated the use of state chapter and local resources within our weekend event as well as our annual conference, and continued work with our surgeon colleagues for multidisciplinary courses so we can all integrate at a conference like we do every day in our regular practices and programs. And our support group facilitator, or our support group committee has completed our support group facilitator training program. And this is a webinar that has 3 modules, 11 presentations with 10 different providers in doing those, ASMBS members. And it's about 3.5 hours long, and it's free access to our members because we were able to secure funding from our industry partners. And I want to take time to especially thank in alphabetical order, the ASMBS Corporate Council, Bariatric Advantage, Bariatric PAL, and ProCare for your unwavering support to make this possible and allowing us to have real-time training that everyone can use in their program for learning how to facilitate a support group. So thank you for those industry sponsors in the room. And the support group committee has also launched an online forum, and it's a support group for support group. So really having the support for those people who need the support to give the support. So if you can make sense of that, you know what I'm talking about. And they're also developing a new chapter in the support group manual for virtual support group. So a lot of great things coming up with support group. So speaking of support, I would like to talk about my support. My deepest gratitude goes to my family, my coworkers, here it comes, the IHEC and the EC, as well as our staff colleagues. Without you, your unwavering support of all these individuals, I would never be here today. I am truly humbled by this opportunity to serve each and every one of you. First, I would like to thank all of our ASMBS colleagues. Behind the scenes, you do everything to make our jobs easy and possible. All the amazing accomplishments that we've just discussed today and that Dr. Lemasters will discuss tomorrow would not happen without the support of our ASMBS staff colleagues. The unwavering support of you make this all possible. And please stand so we can recognize you. Our ASMBS organizational leadership. Words cannot express how grateful I am for your guidance and support, Christy and Jen. You've been there to advise me and provide me counsel. You've been friends and just I can't say enough. Words cannot express how much you've meant to my leadership growth and development, and I appreciate both of you. Your vision is critical to making all things possible for us as a society. I want to thank you personally. This has been a professionally rewarding experience, but also a personally rewarding experience working with you too. And I look forward to supporting you in my past presidency role to help you. Thank you. Please stand to be recognized individually. The Executive Council and the Integrated Health Executive Council. It has been an honor and privilege to serve you as your IH president for 2 years. During my tenure, I was extremely grateful for the trust and unfailing support of both the EC and IHEC leadership teams. Throughout this journey together, we've faced both adversities but also achievements. We will continue to make positive impacts on the future growth of our society. I'm immensely proud of what our teams have accomplished, and this is attributed to all of your hard work, your dedication, your passion, and your commitment. Would the EC and IHEC please stand? Thank you. All right, I have some cool pictures too. So to my fellow presidents, Dr. Katari, for his support and friendship. Your mentorship to become a better leader has impacted my life. I now know that my love language is acts of service. Thank you for helping me in respecting my faith and how to serve others. And I look forward to continuing service to you, sir, as we move forward. Thank you. Dr. LeMasters, we started our journey together, as you said, as young pups in the organization over 11 years ago, working as leaders on our first compensation survey. We're now finishing our presidencies together. It's been an amazing journey. Sometimes we are so synergistic. We both recognize Leslie for her award last night and tonight together and never even talked about it. So we're just in tune. And I think that speaks to your collaborative approach and understanding and supporting IH. Thank you for your leadership and friendship. My HCA family, I see Stephanie, I have the same photographer group there. I got one extra one of Barbara, where her and I are doing a recruitment very early on into my introduction into this practice. But I want to take time to thank Dr. Aquilina, Dr. Bregman, and Barbara Baynard for your friendship and your support of my service to ASMBS. You allowed me time away. You respected or shut my office door when I was on calls and disrupting your daily duties. You picked up the slack when I was not around, and I really appreciate that. You're all amazing clinicians, but more importantly, you're amazing friends, and I thank you. Only a few people probably know this gentleman in the audience. But I can't explain how much he's meant to me. Dr. Kim Marley, or Colonel Marley to some of you, a Special Forces Army officer, mentored me as a young Army officer and encouraged me to continue my education to become a nurse practitioner. We founded a successful private practice together, and during that time, we developed a deep and meaningful lifelong relationship. I'm eternally grateful for him for encouraging me and seeing more than me than I probably ever would have saw myself. Thank you, Kim. My family. As Stephanie alluded, family is very important to me. They mean the world to me. I cherish my family. They support me every day. So there's my entire family there, but I'd like to get more specific. My parents and sister. You've been my biggest cheerleaders and inspired me to be the best person I can be. You're my superheroes. Apparently, you're not the only ones at finding good pictures. You are my superheroes, and you've instilled to me to always serve others. I am so happy you are here today, so I can publicly thank you for all that you've meant to shape me into the man that I've become. Thank you. My boys, you're my greatest accomplishment. As you can see, my boys are also my superheroes. You are my greatest gifts, and I love you more than you will ever know. When I started my ASMBS journey, neither of you were alive. But as my ASMBS journey grew, so did you. Apparently, you were early bloomers with your mustaches. I am happy to see the young men that you are growing into being. I also hope that you are inspired to find your own passion that drives you to great accomplishments. We have a saying that we listen to with one of the podcasts in our house, in being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to push your boundaries to get outside your comfort zone to achieve great things. I hope you continue to become comfortable being uncomfortable. I look forward to seeing you succeed in all of your life streams, and I am your biggest fan and cheerleader and advocate, and I love you. My everything. Jessica, you've sacrificed so much for our family. Your support is essential to making this dream a reality. You've endured long calls before Zoom was even a thing, me walking around and you could identify probably all the leadership in this room by the tone of their voice. Then blocking myself in the room hours upon hours on Zoom with the understanding that the time away, you've done this all with grace and understanding and support. You've encouraged me to be the best version of myself and always reaching for the stars. Despite my love language, as we learned, is acts of service, and yours is quality time, we still make it work. I love you and thank you for being my best friend, being the rock of our family, and as you can see there, continuing the superhero theme, I'm the clown and you are the superhero. I look forward to lifting up the next generation of leaders in our society and supporting you in your future endeavors. As John C. Maxwell stated, leadership is not about a title, positions, or flowcharts. It's about one life influencing another. I hope that in my tenure as your president, I have in some small measure inspired some of you to go on and do great things for our society and our patients. My challenge to you today, if you are not involved, take that step today and volunteer and get involved. It will be professionally rewarding, and the relationships you grow over this experience will be a lifelong friendship. If you're already involved, lead by example, asking other members to become more involved. We look to lift up our future leaders. It is a powerful gesture to ask someone to share their skills and knowledge, be there to support them in our society, to produce incredible things and new innovative contributions. Remember that inspiring others to contribute is an ongoing process and it requires work, constant support and encouragement and recognition of their efforts. As Dr. Bill Goresh told me, it's planting seeds, and farming is a lot of hard work, and we need to nurture the next generation. Together, we can accomplish remarkable achievements. The moment. Dr. Stephanie Sogg is a clinical psychologist and associate professor of Psychology at Harvard Medical School. She has treated patients with obesity at MGH Weight Center since 2003. She is the director of the Weight Center rotation for behavioral medicine psychology interns and is active both nationally as well as internationally in scientific obesity and metabolic surgery societies. In addition to her clinical work, Dr. Sog is also a well-known and published researcher. She is an author of many different articles, and we appreciate all that you do for our society. Thank you for your understanding there with some computer delay. But above all of her academic accolades and contributions to our society, she's been a close friend and advisor to me. I'm very excited about her leadership. As my term ends, I'm excited and optimistic about the future trajectory of our society under Dr. Sog's leadership. Her leadership at all levels of our organization have given her a deep understanding of our organization needs and our members' needs. Along with her expertise in her analytical approach, this will be instrumental in propelling us into new heights for our organization. I recently read this excerpt from a book called Transition Plan as I looked forward to the succession of our next leadership. This was by Bob Russell. He described leadership as a transition similar to the passing of a baton in a relay race. It resonated with me, and so I'd like to share some similarities. The one passing the baton must keep running full steam ahead until the baton is passed. The one receiving the baton must start running before they even receive the baton. Both runners must stay in the same lane. The baton must be passed in a timely fashion, and if this exchange is handled properly, there's possibility of gaining ground as opposed to losing ground. Once the baton is exchanged, the one passing the baton does not continue to run alongside the next runner. However, they jog across the infield and cheer their teammate on to success. As I've come to the exchange point to pass the baton, I have faith in Dr. Sog's skill set, expertise, and vision necessary to guide us forward and represent IH as well as the ASMBS Society towards future growth. It is with great pride and anticipation for the future that I pass the baton, because Stephanie really wanted to keep this, and I told her you can't keep this. So I have props. You can keep this, and we are going to seamlessly pass the baton. And then you can call the business meeting closed and smack the gavel and all. Well, yeah, the adjournment.
Okay.
And then I'm going to introduce Dr. Cushman.
I'm having last-minute instructions that it is time for me to adjourn this part of the meeting and move on to our IH keynote speaker, which I'm greatly looking forward to. So I declare this part of the meeting adjourned.